one of these quick college hoops post-game reaction segments. Not going to spend a ton of time on this one because there's a lot to dive into with college hoops, but I'll say this. Coming into Saturday, so many big games. Tennessee, Alabama, Marquette, Creighton, Kansas, Baylor. Didn't think we'd spend very much time talking about Arkansas, Kentucky. But with the way the game played out, with Kentucky yet again doing what Kentucky does, feels like it was worth just the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minute reaction to this game. How about this? Kentucky, off of that close, narrow, buzzer-beating win against Mississippi State, they take care of Arkansas. Final score 111-102 as yet another freshman steps up. In this case, Rob Dillingham was unbelievable in this game. And I do think, even though it's not like a big, huge, oh my God, this is a landscape-changing win for Kentucky, I do think it told me one very big thing about this team, which we'll get into in a minute. First of all, weird game, but not a totally surprising game. It's funny, I was talking to my buddy Ed, listens to the Aaron Torres pod on Friday, and we were talking about how this was kind of the game, if you're a Kentucky fan, you got to worry about, right? You don't got to worry about the bright lights against Alabama, the bright lights at Auburn, bright lights against Kansas early in the year, North Carolina early in the year. But you're coming off an emotional midweek win, hostile environment, and the thing about Arkansas, we know Arkansas has dudes. We know when Arkansas is locked in, they can compete and beat just about anybody in college basketball. They beat Duke. I saw it. I was there. They beat Purdue in the preseason in a charity exhibition game where both teams were trying to win. And so I just bring it up because this game, in a lot of ways, it was a microcosm of both team seasons. You let Arkansas gain around, you let them hang around, you let them get confidence, they could beat you. And that's what it looked like it was going to be for a while. I also think from the Kentucky perspective, you get wowed by the offense, but the big question is, can you get enough defensive stops? Well, as it turns out, they did just get just enough defensive stops for the 9-point win. Now, in terms of the big picture takeaways, a couple things. One, Rob freaking Dillingham. I mean, listen, I've said this many times. He is one of my favorite college basketball players in recent memory. And in a lot of ways, he reminds me of like an old school John Calipari guy, right? You know, just one of those guys, coach, give me the ball. Coach, I got this. Cal screaming in his face, whatever, coach, I got this. Like just kind of stuff just kind of falls off his shoulders. Doesn't feel like, he gets the moments get a hold of him. He doesn't get too high. He doesn't get too low. He doesn't let John Calipari get to him. And I mean, the guy was just unbelievable late in the game. The stat sheet doesn't tell it, but he finishes with 15 points, 5 assists. But about the last 6-7 minutes of that game, it felt like every single play, Rob Dillingham was making it. He was getting to the rim. He was getting to the rim and getting fouled. He was throwing alley-oops. He was throwing bounce passes to cutters. Every single thing he did, every single play that Kentucky needed, he seemingly made the play. And so to me, when I think about this game, it was the Rob Dillingham game. But when I think in the bigger picture, I'm just here to say it. Like, listen, I know that if I give too much credit to Kentucky off of a win against a bad Arkansas team, people are going to say, oh, Torres, you're just trying to hype Kentucky. No, listen. There's a lot of good teams in college basketball. Arizona, Tennessee, UConn, Purdue, Houston, whoever. But at the end of the day, when I look at Kentucky, I can tell you this. I watch all these teams. Kentucky has more guys that on any given night can beat you. And I think that's what makes them so terrifying going into March. Just think about the last 3 games for Kentucky, okay? Last 3 games. 2 Saturdays ago. So not Saturday today. Last Saturday, they play Alabama at home. Justin Edwards, 10 for 10 from the field. 4 for 4 from 3. What did he finish with? 32, 33 points, something like that, as Kentucky gets the win over Bama. Then Tuesday was the Reed Shepherd game. Buzzer beater, beats Mississippi State, 32 points. On top of that, Saturday, Rob Dillingham takes over the game. So just in the last 3 games, 3 different players have taken over at the most important moments. 3 different freshmen, I might add, have taken over in different moments. And what I think is interesting is a couple things. That doesn't even factor in that Antonio Reeves is just good for 18 to 25 every single game. Just knock on wood. I don't want to jinx anything for Kentucky fans, but basically just pencil him in for 20 to 25. He gets it every single night. But beyond that, the other thing that I think is interesting, the rest of the freshmen, on top of all of those other guys that can get you buckets, they're all starting to step up too. Thought Saturday was the best game that Aaron Bradshaw has played in a Kentucky uniform. Again, stat sheet doesn't fully reflect it, but off the bench, actually, the stat sheet does reflect that. I didn't realize he had 15 points. I told you we do these reactions live in real time. 15 points, 5 rebounds. I did not know he had 15 points, but it speaks to the game that he had. By the way, hit a 3. Who was the big key player early in the game? DJ Wagner, 3 straight threes early in the game. Jay Wright even said to lead the show, to lead the broadcast, he basically said, look, Arkansas will give them that shot. Arkansas did not anticipate DJ Wagner being able to do that. Only he does it. He finishes with 19 points. It's his best game in about 3 to 4 weeks. And then finally, we got to talk about our guy, Big Z. We have talked a lot about Big Z on this YouTube channel, whether it was when he committed in the summer, basically out of nowhere, when he wasn't eligible. Well, now we know why everybody was fighting to get this kid eligible. He has quietly become a very, 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 very important piece to this team. You look at what he did on Saturday. Again, another guy off the bench, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks. And I thought Jay Wright said it best in the game. He basically said, like, look, this is, this guy is kind of the best combination of offense and defense. And he might be the guy down the stretch that is the 5-man that's playing, because he's a great rim protector. He's not an elite inside interior defender. He's a little skinny. We know that. But an elite rim protector. He's a great passer and has a great feel for the game. And obviously, he's a 5-out center. He can stretch the floor and beat teams with his shooting. So just think about all the players that I just mentioned. DJ Wagner had 19. Aaron Bradshaw had 15. Antonio Reeves had 20. Rob Dillingham took over the game. It was a good but not great day for Reed Sheppard. So listen, I don't want to oversell it, but I just think when you look at this team and you look at how things could potentially break in March, tell me the team that is going to be able to slow this team down. Tell me the team that has the number of guys that can go player for player, score for score with them. Now, the defense, we know it has to be better. And at some point, whether you play a Houston, whether you play a Tennessee, who you obviously play next Saturday at Thompson-Boling Arena, whether you play a UConn, a Purdue, or whoever, at some point you are going to have to get stops. But Kentucky has shown at times they are capable of playing elite defensively. And I'm excited to see this team over these final few weeks. Last thought. I think this is interesting. And this is something, listen, where Aaron was right, where Aaron was wrong. Did you see the lineup that Kentucky closed with on Saturday? DJ Wagner at point guard. Rob Dillingham, Reed Sheppard. I don't know if it's at point guard because all 3 of them are point guards. But Reed Sheppard, Rob Dillingham, DJ Wagner. At the 4, you basically had Justin Edwards. At the 5, you had Big Z. Why do I bring it up? 5 for 5. 5 freshmen. Now, listen, Antonio Reeves would normally be out there. I think Cal smartly rode the hot hand on Saturday. But at the same time, what I also don't think can be denied is this. 5 freshmen. That matters. I've said since the summertime, people have said you can't win with freshmen in college basketball in 2024. And what have I said? Said if the freshmen are good enough, you absolutely can. Alabama last year won the SEC regular season, got a #1 seed, SEC tournament title as well. 4 of their top 6 scorers are freshmen, led by Brandon Miller. This year, Kentucky led by nothing but freshmen. So great win for Kentucky. We'll have more on this game, plus all of the other big games from Saturday on Sunday's Aaron Torres pod. We'll be recording at 6 p.m. Eastern. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, please make sure to do so. Also, make sure to put on those bells and notifications so you know when new videos pop every day.